Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Vic Senese. Glad you joined us. Today, we're going to be doing an interesting episode. We're going to be looking back at the last year, 2025, showing you some highlights and future insights. We'll talk about what we want to do going forward into 2026. If you're here for the first time, be sure to check out our website at UroNurse.com. Best place to go to learn more about the show and see previous episodes. Also, it's the best way to see us on our audio podcast if you like to just listen in your car. So we're joined today with our co-host, Lori Atkinson. Welcome, Lori.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing this fine morning?
Yeah, the comments are open. Feel free to add any information that you want or any questions, or hey, if you just want to say hi, go ahead and do that. We're always glad to hear more about what you're thinking about the show. So let's get right into the show. I'm going to bring up our slides here. And Lori and I will both be on the screen so we can kind of chit chat about what's going on. So UroNurse started 180 episodes, 180 weeks ago, because this is episode 180. We've never missed an episode for that 180 weeks. That's kind of crazy. I've been surprised myself. It's come close a few times, but never missed one. I think last week we had an issue with it cut out the sound or something, but we got it back going. So 180 episodes, UroNurse.com. First thing I started. And the second thing I decided, because I saw a lot of, the goal of this was kind of healthcare workers, right, Lori? We wanted to kind of have a way to hang out.
Yeah, absolutely. And how can you do? I mean, what better way than get on and do it for free?
Yeah. So that's been our goal. That's what we worked out. But we saw a lot of patients were joining us, so I decided to crack along with that and started UroPatient Podcast, which has had 106 episodes. Never missed a week yet on that one. A little different format. It's a shorter show. It doesn't tend to go over a half hour, aimed at patients, basically information patients need to know. Now, that started about a year after UroNurse started. Do you know what my number one viewership is in? Which show? Any guess, Laura?
Ooh, it's got to be the prostate. I don't. It's
no, between all the different podcasts, which one?
Oh, the podcasts. UroNurse, of course.
You would think, right? UroPatient has actually passed up UroNurse.
Wow.
More people are tuning in, which tells me something. It says a lot of patients are coming to get information, which is great because it's all good. And UroNurse tends to feed a lot of information that I give to UroPatient. Some of the interviews, I'll cut them down and kind of explain what some of the technical stuff was talked about. So after that, I decided, I had way too much time on my hand, I guess. So I started UroNurse News. And that's been my fun project. I do 5 episodes Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. They're really short. They're 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most. I've done 110 of those. That I can't believe. It just flies by. I guess when you do 5 days a week, it goes fast, right? So have you checked out any of those episodes?
Unfortunately, I have not, Vic. I am not retired, and my name is not Vic. So so unfortunately, I'm dedicated to UroNurse.
Yeah, not a problem. But a lot of people have been checking them out. I actually had a few folks write in about how much they enjoyed just having that quick news article. So you may want to check it out. And then Dr. Jeff Albo approached me and said, I really like what you're doing. He says, and he's getting close to retirement too. He said, I'd kind of like to have a podcast also. He said, but I don't know anything about podcasting. So I said, well, Jeff, I was thinking that was probably an area that we should have more information on, sex. And if you're willing to host it, I'm willing to produce it. So we did. We started that we just actually celebrated the 1-year anniversary this past week. And it's been going strong. Jeff's done a great job as host in he finds all the talent for that show. So that saves me a lot of that work. I just do the production work, running the show in the background, which means I don't have to have my face on the show, which is kind of fun too, just pushing buttons. So, but it's been really doing well. So you can check that one out every Tuesday. And just a little follow-up. So UroNurse currently is on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X, along with StreamYard, where it actually originates from. But it's been going strong. I'm going to share some statistics about all of those areas that we cover. So, I do want to do a shout out to the supporters. This isn't free to put on. I can tell you, we work for free, but we do have costs involved in streaming, and that's actually pretty costly. But thankfully to industry, who's also had come some great speakers for us, they've also donated to help keep the show going, and my hats off to them. So you can check out any of our donors, our supporters, by going to the website and clicking their link, and it'll take you right to their website. Because a lot of people want to check out what they had to talk about, and that's an easy way. And how you like that car?
Love it.
Me and AI, I just can't say enough about how much fun I have with it. But there's the UroNurse Mustang, the one I'll never get. I have one convertible Mustang in my life. Unfortunately, I bought it about, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so ago, and didn't realize how hard it is to get in and out of a car like that.
My first car was a Mustang.
Yeah.
My first brand new car that I bought by myself. Of course, it wasn't a GT, it was an LX, but it was a
Ooh.
Mustang nonetheless.
Yeah. Nice car. I enjoyed it. It's just as you get old, those SUVs are a lot easier to crawl in and out of. So.
Absolutely, I agree.
But anyway, that's just a reminder that the audio version of this has surprised me too. A lot of people really just like to listen to it in their car, and so we make that available. And now let's go through some other things here. We know all the past episodes, all 180 of them, are available on the website. They're all hosted through YouTube, so you can always find them either way. Now, here's our stats. So YouTube, the main place that we are seen at, we've had 1.5 million views, which to me is just astonishing. Yeah. I mean, that just shows that the strength of the show and you guys enjoying it. So I guess we're doing something right. And subscribers, we're up to almost 4,000. We're just a few short. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, especially the subscribe button, because the more subscribers we have, the better our ratings and things do in YouTube. So it helps promote the show for us. So 4,000, that was kind of crazy. You needed 1,000 just to be able to kind of get the streaming abilities, and we've surpassed that. So the next goal is 100,000. I think we got a while to get there. Can you believe that this is seen in 79 countries?
Wow.
It's just all over the world. I think at last count, there's like 138 countries in the world. So we're starting to dominate. So I think it's because all these can be translated automatically by AI, so you can listen in your own language. A lot of the countries that listen have probably English-speaking folks. But when I started first looking at statistics for countries, we were kind of close to 50. So it just grows every year. More and more countries finding us. I didn't know there were that many countries that wanted to watch. But it's also brought in talent, because we've had people from England, we've had folks from Egypt, and Denmark. I had somebody from Denmark. So it does bring talent worldwide too. And then of course we get Chicago and Indiana. Age group, so probably no big surprise that we attract more people that are in their 65 plus years, but pretty good balance, I think. I guess we're not the hitting the hip hop group. So these are our top 10. Really, the interesting thing I noticed was that the number of views some of these shows have had, up in the 100,000 views. So it's really been great. LinkedIn is our other feed that we go in. That's kind of, if you're not used or aware of LinkedIn, that's the professional side. That's people put their resumes up there, look for jobs up there. But we've been doing great. As you can see, I have 426 connections on LinkedIn. That means people that have asked to be on this, as connected to the show. And in the past year, it says that we've grown 429%.
Wow.
That's pretty good to me. So we can see some of these episodes have had 17,000, 14,000, nearly 10,000 views. So LinkedIn has been another great place to be. Facebook, it's harder to grab statistics off of Facebook unless you're paying for it. But I did get a few. It looks like we have almost 8,000 views every month of our show. I've got 179 devoted followers and kind of the same age group spread. Um, I have to admit, I'm on social media for this show mostly. I don't really use Facebook too much otherwise, and that's probably why the numbers aren't so great. And are you a big Facebooker?
No, the only time I go on it is if I get some kind of notification that somebody posted a comment, and that's it.
Yeah. And for us, it's usually, our grandkids or our kids or somebody have put some pictures up, so we go to
Right.
look at those, but not a big user. I hear that to get big numbers, you need to actually pay for their ads, and like I said, we don't make a lot of money, so I just wanted to keep it running. This one I thought was interesting. So Spotify is our audio version. Spotify puts out the audio version all over the place, and um, this past year they showed that we're number one show for 17 fans. So 17 people who listen to us really like us. Our number one show was UroNurse episode 129 on your ureteral stents, a survey that we did. Kind of neat. But these are interesting stats in 2025. And this is all produced by Spotify. So it was really kind of fun to get this information. We had a 717% increase in people viewing us or listening to us, I guess, and 62% more followers. So we're growing like crazy there. Just some more stats about how many it plays, the followers, our top 10 list on Spotify. Vasectomy reversal. There's some fun things to listen to in the car, right? And then finally, X is the other place that we're showing up, and we're growing on X too. The X has had its biggest growth for Dr. Jeff's show. I'm surprised. Sex and education has been crazy, but it's really taken off. So, and you can kind of see some of the viewership and circumcision. Oh my gosh, that was the one thing that really got X going for UroNurse. I think I've got a clip. Yeah, these are the comments that came in after I posted this thing about circumcisions. And it was crazy. People are sending me all sorts of informational studies and things, but there had to be at least 100 comments for one
Wow.
show. So it was crazy. All right. So I did a survey mostly to find out what I could do to improve the show, what you guys like, what you don't like. I would have liked to have gotten more data, but hey, I'll share the data that I got. So probably no big surprise. Mostly RNs watching the show, a large group of advanced practice, and then just a few medical assistants that are also showing it some interest in the show. I guess which podcast you could select them all just to kind of see how the shows that people that watch UroNurse, because that's where I advertised it to do the survey. Most obviously watching UroNurse, but the news 50%, Uro patient 50%, and 33% Dr. Jeff's talks about sex and intimacy. So a lot of people are watching all these podcasts. How often do you watch or listen? I was wondering if they're spending how much of their time. So most people are occasional listeners, at least according to the survey, but some, a large number every day. So they're checking out that UroNurse news. So great. And a weekly, that's not a surprise because this is a weekly show. How would you rate your overall educational value? And excellent, very good. And a little tiny needs improvement. I don't know. That's why we do the studies, right? To see what people want. So I guess we could improve somehow, right?
Always.
But really surprised that people consider it a good overall value. And then I asked what topics they'd like to see more of, and prostate cancer care was way out there, and bladder health, catheter and devices. That was kind of a surprise. A lot of people emerging therapies, that makes sense. So that just left this open. They could put whatever they wanted. So, and then I was interested, how confident are you in the accuracy and balance of our content? Because, we want to present fair, balanced. There's a lot of shows out there on YouTube, but are they really research-based, evidence-based? Is it, factual, or are they just, fake news? So 87.5% are very confident and the rest are confident. So I'm pretty happy to hear that we're hitting that mark. And then this was the big one, and this is kind of where I'm looking into the future, is how long do you prefer educational videos to be? I know people have, limited time to invest into things, and shorts do great, which are, most of those are 3 minutes or less. So anyway, I asked him, we could see what that showed. Uh, Quarter of you would like it to be under 10 minutes. So less is more, right? 25% wanted it longer than an hour. Go figure. Dr. Jeff's show. I remember when we started it, he said to me, he said, I'd like to keep it around a half hour. I go, sure, Jeff, whatever you say. His shows have been hitting the 1 hour plus mark every week.
Wow.
They just get talking. He's got some really great experts, and they just kind of go on and on. But it's interesting, so it works. The 20 to 30 minutes, which is kind of where the show is for the most part, because Q&A can sometimes drive it longer. But the actual show, I always tell presenters that I'd like 20-minute presentation, and it seems like 37.5. That was the most people. So I think we're doing pretty good. What are your thoughts on the length of the show, Lori?
Yeah, I think, that recently I know when we did the UroNurse, it was an hour long and we kept it to an hour. I do believe that, once we're done and the questions are answered and I think that's a reasonable time to stop. And if it goes longer, it goes longer. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah. I kind of like that idea too. These were some comments I got. This, I guess, was referring to the question before that. 15 to 20 minutes, as long as you've been doing. So they kind of like what we're doing. As to topics, helps to know and receive in-depth look into new resources, concepts, and the caliber of speakers has been phenomenal. Hey, thanks for that shout out. Gives me ideas for our area as well as SUNA and IUA. Having Lori on, and previously was fun to have Dr. John on, but no time-wise, and his practice and family took commitment. Yeah, we missed that John Lynn getting on like he used to. I really admire the steady dedicated time these programs are on, and can't miss the Euro news, as the best and short update is very helpful. Like reading items in the newspaper daily. I fit these shows into my schedule and able to catch up with easily recorded ones. All of SUNA can appreciate your technical skills. So, hey, thanks whoever put that comment out there. That's a great comment. And Lori, you got a shout out.
No, I think the shout out really needs to go to you, Vic, because we can't thank you enough for what you do. This is a great program, and I think that you don't get the acknowledgement enough, and you don't get the thanks enough for what you do, because I know that it takes a lot of time, commitment, money. You do it all, and kudos to you, and we really appreciate you.
Well, it's a labor of love, and I always say, if you like what you're doing, you're never working, and that's pretty much been my motto throughout my life. Even when I was going to work, I was like, I still kind of question why they paid me to do something that I just would do
Yeah.
anyway.
And why do you think
So,
I do it every week? Or, most weeks,
yeah,
I should say. I mean, I
yeah,
love doing what I do, and I love to learn the new and upcoming things in
yeah.
urology.
And
Absolutely.
it's fun to get some of the experts in, but it's been really neat having you on as a co-host to, sometimes trying to think of what to ask people and kind of spur ideas is not the easiest thing in the world. And your help has been, just tremendous in that area. Now, here's one I thought was interesting: wound care and ostomy nurses. So obviously we're hitting a lot of the WOCN folks too. So I think I could use to probably try to branch out a little bit in that direction. Bladder debris and all things stoma, skin treatment. Yeah. So that's all kind of going along with that same area. So something to think about for the future. And speaking of the future, my favorite show is always Star Trek growing up. I still like it. It's
Oh.
still coming out. And so I tell you a quick story. When Star Trek was on, my youngest, my daughter, would be watching it with me all the time. And not that, I don't know if she liked it or not, but she was probably about, I don't know, maybe 4 years old. And I, really watched it and was into the show. And she says, she was crying. I said, what are you crying about? She says, I know you're going to leave me and go on a starship.
Yeah.
I said, I don't think so. But if I had the opportunity, I certainly would. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the future. I think what I'm going to do is bring us up here and bring up the comments, because we've had a few of those come in here. We've had some good mornings. Good morning, Susie Swain, Katie Bortel. At Stop and Listen, can you do a summary of risk and benefits of whole lap versus whole lap versus whole lap? So yeah, good idea that for a topic to do. It came from somebody from YouTube. A good morning from California. It's neat to see all over the country people tuning in to watch it because time zones. I just got back from Florida, which was on Eastern. I hated it because it's 10 o'clock for Eastern time. And it was like so late in the day. I've also done it from the West Coast, and boy, it's early in the morning. So I give you guys on the West Coast a lot of credit for getting up that early. And I agree. Thank you, Vic. We appreciate you. Well, thanks. I really appreciate the comments. So, all right. So let's talk. Let me get this comment out of here. If you guys have any other comments or questions or things you want, I'm going to put the show comments on stage. So I'll see them pop up. See a lot of new things that StreamYard keeps adding in. So I figure I may as well use them. So Lori, any ideas for the show that you would think going into the future we ought to look at more or something less?
I particularly enjoy the surveys. It's interesting. I like surveys. I like interaction, a lot of interaction with the people who are on. I think it's a fun way. I think a lot of shows are beneficial when you're talking about, let's say maybe, post-op stent pain or something like that. And you get the interaction from the audience on what their offices do and compared to what, we have input on and research and so forth. So I think that's always a good one.
That's a good point. I think I did that for a while. I was doing them more. Haven't done it in a while. I think you're right. We need to look at that because the way everybody practices has changed quite a bit, and it changes every year. One of the things I loved about urology is it's just not stagnant. There's something new, something exciting, something always going on, and seeing what you're doing makes sense. So I think I'm going to do more of the surveys. They're easy enough to generate, especially nowadays with AI. I just kind of say, hey, give me a survey on some subject, and they'll do most of the hard work, and all I got to do is send it out. So look forward to some of those. Now, one of the big things I've struggled with, and so I've watched some YouTube complete people that have, big numbers, giant numbers. And I've never been a guy that's really worried about the numbers. It's nice to know because when I started the show, I was like, if 20 people listen, it'll be perfect. And, of course, 1.5 million later, people are listening to the show. So that's not an issue, but you always want to make sure that you're making it entertaining. And so one of the things I'm starting to think about is shortening the beginning. I have my little theme song that starts in the beginning. It also plays our disclosure statement, which I think is really important because we want to make sure people understand that this is, really people's opinions. We do base it on evidence, but it's not medical advice. And we don't want you to use it as medical advice.
Right.
That's still, this is not a treatment. It's an education. So, So I'd like to probably start shortening the intros out. They say, you should get right to the show. So I'm kind of going to experiment with some of that going forward. Audience, let me know if you like it or not. I might just go from the song right into the show and kind of cut out some of the intro stuff. I've been trimming it back. I don't know if you noticed it, Lori, or not, but.
Oh yeah, I have. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm trying to trim that back a little bit and try to shorten it up. And I like what you had said, keeping the show kind of in that 20-minute zone is probably a good idea. If we get a lot of questions, great. We'll answer them. We'll go longer. We can't go past the hour because I have another show coming up. But, I think that coming out with a show that's only 20 or 30 minutes long is perfectly fine. And I'd like to, probably, a lot of the stuff you do in the beginning, you figure, we went to lectures. They were always an hour long. So I thought, well, the show should be an hour long. It doesn't have to be.
Right.
So, I don't know, any other thoughts you might have going towards the future, what we want to do?
I think that the audience, at least I do like, a lot. I think they like to see visual videos of of when somebody presents, let's say, the circumcision, and you
Yeah,
show videos of, the
the
actual. I
actual
think a lot of
procedure.
people. I'm a visual person, so I like to see visual stuff. I like to, instead of just slides and slide after slide, it can get a
Yeah.
little redundant. But yeah, maybe that would make things a little more exciting.
Yeah, makes good sense. The other thing is, and you can put it in the comments, those that are viewers and those that are watching this on demand, because obviously our number of people watching it live is far less than the people that watch it on demand. You can always go to our website at uronurse.com, and there's a little button that you can click and send an email to me with thoughts and ideas. But in Jeff's particular show, a lot of his speakers don't use slides. And I always thought, it's a video presentation. Why not have videos or slides at least to look at? But they just do interviews like you and I are doing right now, back and forth conversation. It works. So can't say, it's not a bad idea, but maybe we could do some interviews and things in the future. I'd like to see if we get people more involved. There is the ability to bring you onto the show if you're a live listener and you wanted to do that.
Oh yeah,
So
I don't, we don't want to be alone anymore. We
yeah.
welcome anybody who wants to participate.
So if you go ahead and you want to, I think we'd like to do some panelist type discussions where we get a group together. We did that once, I think, on catheters, where I had Todd Thompson come in and Diane Newman came in, and I think you and I, and just talked about different options for catheter care. So I think that some of those would be a lot of fun to do. So we'll kind of try to look at some of those in the future. But I do put that out there. If you want to watch, even if you're watching on demand and you want to be on the show and want to try it out and be like Lori and I can bring up, I got more boxes. It'll hold up to 10 people. So just in the comments, just put down, make sure you have a camera on your system and a microphone, and just say, hey, I want to come on the show, and I'll click you in there and we'll try that out too. So it could be fun. So just a thought.
Especially if you think a lot on that certain subject, we're welcome to,
Yeah.
have extra experts on who know more than I do, or Vic, or whoever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
We've
do.
had some comments from, you could tell, people that had expertise in the area.
Absolutely.
So, and especially if those woundostomy folks are watching, love to have you guys on, because
Mhm.
that's not my specialty or Lori's specialty. I mean,
No.
there's some interaction between the two specialties, but you guys do something completely different. So I'll try to reach out to some of my woundostomy folks that I know and see if we can't get some folks on to the show. I think that might be an area that we're missing.
Mhm.
So, well, that's about all I've got to say for this year. We had a great year last year. UroNurse is going nowhere, I can tell you that. I love doing this show. I hope Lori keeps staying on with me, because I love having Lori on as a co-host. We'd like to bring more people into it, get more involved. I think we're going to try a shorter format and see how that goes. I'm not afraid to be under that hour. And let's see if anything else.
And Vic, how does one reach out to you to let you know if they'd like to join your nurse?
Yeah, so a couple different ways. You can go on the website. There's a button that says, I want to be part of the show, and you can click that. Or there's a button that'll just let you email us about thoughts you have. And again, if you're on the show live, the comments, all you have to do is put in the comments, bring me on the show. I can push you right into the show. It's no big deal. So it's real quick and easy. And if you don't want to be on the show, but you want to say something, of course, put your comments in there. We can always bring those up on the screen. That's one of the nice things about this format. Now, back to what's going on next year. Here's our next show for next year.
Nurse practitioners are redefining healthcare in America and leading the charge toward true healthcare independence. In this powerful and timely episode, Vic Senese, host of UroNurse, sits down with nationally respected nurse practitioner Carolyn Zalmier to explore how NPs are transforming access, quality and patient-centered care across the healthcare landscape. With over 30 years of clinical experience, Carolyn Zalmier is a recognized leader in women's health, hormone therapy, and evidence-based wellness. She is the founder of Low TE Florida in Fort Lauderdale. She specializes in personalized hormone optimization for both men and women, helping patients regain balance, vitality, and quality of life. through science-driven care. Join us on January 17th at 9 a.m. Central Time to learn more.
Yep. So the nurse practitioner's role is really expanding, especially in urology. We had Alex Hughes, who's a nurse practitioner, who's showing all the stuff he does for aquablation, all the screening and stuff. I think it's gonna be an interesting. Here's somebody who started their own clinic and kind of learn about some of that independent practice. World's changing, and we're changing with it. Hey, you did get a nice comment, Lori.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm not going anywhere.
All right. Well, Lori, as always, it's been great to have you on the show. And viewers, you're the reason that we do it. It'd be fun to keep doing this, but if nobody ever watched it, it'd be a waste of time. I'm far from a waste of time. I'm glad to keep doing it. So tune in next week, and we'll see everybody next week on UroNurse.com.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So here's to the mornings, the coffee, the monitor glow, to the wisdom he shares and the folks that he knows. Saturday is special when Vic's on the stream with 40 years of knowledge and a head full of dreams.